Foodies and wine lovers, mark your calendars. The Fredericksburg Food and Wine Festival is back October 21st through the 26th, 2025, and this year's lineup is bigger than ever. From tacos and tequila at El Quincho to the Texas Black Tie Barbecue at Becker Vineyards, to the heart of it all, the grand tasting with more than 75 pours from Texas wineries, chefs, and artisans, so you don't want to miss it. While all access badges are already sold out, there are still plenty of ways to join the fun. Grab a grand tasting badge or a VIP badge, which gets you into the grand tasting an hour early and gives you access to the Grape Creek Vineyards VIP Lounge. Most of the a la carte events, such as the opening night at the Albert Hotel presented by William Chris Vineyards, the Wine Barrel Auction presented by Texas Wine Auction, and Waterfront Brunch at Fisher & Weiser Farmstead still have tickets left as well. Plus, proceeds support the Hill Country Hospitality Relief Fund, helping local workers recover from recent floods. Tickets are moving fast. Several events are already sold out, so snag yours today at fbgfoodandwine.com. See you in Fredericksburg this October.
Howdy, Vine Trippers. I wanted to take just a moment before the show begins to tell you a little bit about the Texas Wine Lover website and app. It is a definite must-have for anyone wanting to explore the Texas wine industry. Now, they have a website. It's txwinelover.com, but they also have an app that you can actually download to your phone. You can find it on the Apple App Store or on the Google Play Store for Android devices. And it's going to be kind of your one-stop shop for when you go out to visit these great places. So you get to listen to them here on the podcast or watch them on YouTube to learn about these wineries. But when you go to visit, make sure you're checking out that app, because I'm sure you're probably going to want to visit other places in the area as well. And you can do incredible searches. It's the most comprehensive listing of winery information in Texas. And you can look for wineries in your area to go visit multiple places. You can sort those listings by finding out ones that are kid-friendly, maybe some that are pet-friendly. If you want to look for events or things that are going on, if you want to find those that can host RVs, just about any category you can think of, you can actually sort those listings and find wineries around you to go visit. The app is free to use for you and I. So it's a perfect, again, hand-in-hand tool when you're going out to visit wineries. Listen to them on this podcast, watch them on YouTube, and then start making your plans to go visit and use the Texas Wine Lover app when you go. Now, it can also be a great tool. Maybe you're not even looking for a winery. You just happen to be traveling to some place in Texas, and you just might think, I've got a little extra time. I wonder if there are any wineries in the area. You can actually look them up in the Texas Wine Lover app. You can search either by the name of a winery, or it's got a map view. So you can actually pull up a map of the area around you and see locations of wineries near you and go visit them and support the Texas wine industry. So you got to use the Texas Wine Lover app. It goes perfectly with this podcast. So make sure you check it out before you go on your next trip among the vines. Again, it's www.txwinelover.com, or look up the Texas Wine Lover app on your favorite phone app store, and make sure you get that downloaded and use it frequently. You will benefit from it, and ask for Texas wines. Let's see the Texas wine industry prosper, and go visit some of these fun places that I'm bringing to you on the show.
Texas Under Vine, an exploratory podcast to scout out the best Texas wine country has to offer. I'm your wine guide, Scott, and I'm here to lead you on an auditory expedition to the vineyards and wineries across the great Lone Star State. Each episode will cover a different vineyard, winery, or wine-related business operating in Texas. You'll hear interviews, descriptions, and details about each location that will excite you to visit and experience them for yourself. Ready to plan a wine tour? Use these episodes to choose the most interesting spots for you and your friends to check out. Most of all, enjoy hearing about the rapidly growing wine industry in the state
and what makes our wines and wineries the best. Howdy, fellow Vine Tripper. Welcome to episode 70 of the Texas Under Vine podcast. And for this particular episode, I continued venturing north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area in the North Texas zone in an area that's the Texoma AVA. And I found myself landing in the little town of Valley View and came down to the square to a winery situated right on the square in downtown Valley View called Firelight Vineyards. Now, the owners of this winery, George and Meredith Eaton, like a lot of stories that I've heard, actually started their journey into wine by making wine as a hobby way back in 2008. Now, once Meredith's kids had gotten to an age where they were starting into school, so Meredith found a little more time on her hands, she wanted to pursue a little deeper and research and learn a little bit more about this winemaking hobby that they've been doing. And she ended up discovering Grayson College and attended their classes there for viticulture and enology and graduated from Grayson College around 2014. Once she finished her time there at Grayson, she decided they really did want to open up a winery, and she got really excited about it and began her search to look for the perfect place to create this winery. Now, the vineyard that they planted is actually about 12 miles away from Valley View, situated right close to Lake Ray Roberts. And they had considered starting the winery there, but with their kids still young, they wanted a little bit of separation, so they decided to open up the winery as a separate location from where the vineyard was and where they lived. And they found this great building right downtown on the square in Valley View. They fell in love with it. It was the perfect venue for what they wanted to do, and that became the new tasting room now for Firelight Vineyards. Now, that was around 2015, and at that time, they were just leasing their part of the building, and around 2018, they were actually able to purchase the building itself and start construction on what we know of as the tasting room as you see it today. Now, they're not done. They still have plans for even more exciting expansions here, but they really love this location that they're at on the square there in Valley View. Now, in case you're wondering, the name of the vineyard, Firelight Vineyards, because I was wondering, came from another hobby that George and Meredith had of pyrotechnics. George put on these incredible shows. You'll hear about it in the interview with pyrotechnics synchronized to music and incredible fireworks. And that was just something that they were passionate about and loved doing. And so they actually even named some of their wines after different types of fireworks, like Roman candle and things like that. And if you're a wine club member, get excited because they do have some future plans to maybe bring some people out to the vineyard there by Lake Ray Roberts and do some of those fireworks shows as wine club events down the road. And the vineyard that they actually have planted there on Lake Ray Roberts is mainly planted to Black Spanish or Linois, but they also have a few plantings now of Touriga, Cab Sauv, and Merlot, with, if Meredith has her way, some additions down the road of maybe some Tempranillo as well. Now, in addition to all of that great fruit they get from their vineyard, they also supplement some of their fruit with fruit from the High Plains region in Texas to really round out a lot of their Texas wines. But they also have some family friends up in the Washington State area who have access to some incredible grapes being grown in that region, an incredible wine region up in Washington. And so they're actually able to get some of those grapes as well to make some Washington wines, so that you can really see a really great wine lineup when you go to visit Firelight and get to taste different terroirs. Now, they're not about trying to fool you and trying to say these are Texas wines. They're going to label them as Washington wines so you'll know, but they can say, look, here's a chance to taste a Washington Cab Sauv versus a Texas Cab Sauv and be able to put them side by side and see these incredible terroir differences. Now, that wine lineup actually is very vast. They have a lot of selections, everything for basically every palate. Everything from whites to rosés to reds, and those are all dries. They even have sweet wines. They have some dessert wines and even some sparkling. You'll definitely find whatever it is you're looking for your palate when you come to visit them at this incredible tasting room. And as a bonus, if you come hungry, they even have a full bistro on site. So they have a lot of different food options that you can order right there, enjoy your wine with some great food. And they even, because they're on the square, stay open late. So it becomes this perfect, fun little gathering place for people right on the square in Valley View. And when I went to visit, I walked in the door and was greeted by their lovely, bubbly winemaker, Meredith Eaton herself, as she was really excited to show me around, let me see this incredible tasting room, and even sit down with me in one of the rooms to go over how they got started and all their history and answer all the questions that I love to put to the winemakers and owners. Now, before we get to that interview, to those that are watching on YouTube, I did want to alert you. I did have a few technical issues with the camera feed for the last 2 questions of the interview. So I don't have the camera feed for those last 2 questions, but I do have the audio still. So if you're listening to it just in audio, you won't even notice a difference. But on YouTube, you will find that I do have the audio of those because you're going to want to hear the things that she has to say. So without further ado, let's go hear from her and see what she had to share with us.
Howdy, Vine Trippers. Welcome to this episode. I am here at Firelight Vineyard in Valley View, Texas, and I'm excited to bring this episode to you and learn a little bit about what they have to offer here and get you excited to come visit this location here in the North Texas region. We're actually in the Texoma AVA in this particular location, so you get to hear a little bit about some of that, and we're going to get to talk to Meredith Eaton, who's the owner and winemaker here. So without further ado, why don't we talk to her? So Meredith, tell me a little bit about yourself. What got you into the wine industry?
Well, it started many years ago. I'm going to say right around 2008 was when we first started making wine as a hobby. Okay. My husband and I, it was actually his idea initially. When he brought it up to me, I thought, Texans don't make wine. You do that in France. It just didn't dawn on me that that was even a Texas thing to do. But boy, was I wrong. Fast forward to now, for sure. But it was really neat. It started as his idea. He did a little bit of research and found this really cool little place in Carrollton where you could buy a little winemaking kit. It was the winemaker's toy store.
A carboy and all that?
The whole setup. Yeah. And so he put everything together. I still kind of had it in the back of my mind. This is crazy, but very quickly fell in love. As soon as I saw the action happening in the carboy, it was really neat. And we were really young, 1 income, 2 little girls, a toddler and a baby, and all of a sudden 30 bottles of wine, which is pretty nice. It turned out really good. So I thought,
for dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and then Christmas came up and all of a sudden we had the best Christmas
There
gifts.
you go.
So I fell in love with it along with him. We bought more kits and started teaching ourselves how to blend. Before you know it, our dining room was lined with carboys and reds, whites, blending. And after a while, he found a little hobby vineyard. So we went to our very first Texas vineyard, which was, I think it was in Ponder. And I'll never forget the first time I stepped into a Texas vineyard and it just hits you. It's just incredible. So we harvested our 100 pounds of grapes, took them home, and we learned to crush, and that was fun. So then we're blending and crushing very small batch. So we did this for a few years, and about the time my youngest daughter was going into kindergarten, I started to have that thought, like, okay, I'm going to have some more time on my hands. What am I going to do? Do I get back into work? Do I continue? I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. And about that time, he started looking into growing grapes, which we learned really quickly is a major endeavor.
It's an undertaking.
It is, for sure. So during that research, which I kind of did a little bit of research along with him on my own, I stumbled across Grayson College. And I thought, oh my gosh, you can really learn this stuff. And the wheels were already kind of turning. I'd already fallen in love. And I thought, what if I just take the reins on this and we really do something with it? So I enrolled in the program. During that same research, I stumbled across the Texoma AVA. I had never even heard of an AVA. I had to understand what that even meant. And found out by chance the land we owned here in Valley View was sitting in that AVA and that we could make estate wines, which we had no idea what that really meant at the time. So I enrolled in school at Grayson and just continued to fall in love. And I think it was 2014, I graduated. And by that time I was doing a market study looking for a place to open a winery.
Yeah.
Yeah. My Vit 2 project was our very first vineyard block.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you plant the vineyard?
Right here in Valley View. So we're in our tasting room on the square. My vineyard is about 12 miles from here, just on the north side of Lake Ray Roberts, just outside of Johnson Branch Park, if people are familiar with the beautiful park, beautiful state park to stay in if you're coming up this way to visit. But that park is so close, I used to bike my daughters there to swim in the lake and play. Yeah.
So you already had some history in that
Oh,
area.
yeah. So it's been really great. Yeah, we planted that first vineyard block just to figure out what we were doing. I did 60 vines, and it's still there. We make our estate dessert wine.
Yeah. Port style.
Port style. So
What were those first vines that you planted?
the black what we call it Lenoir. Yeah. So 60 black Spanish vines going strong.
They're still there.
Yeah.
How big is your vineyard there?
It's not very big. We did a much larger planting in 2018, but we got hit with a major amount of rain during that planting season, over 30 days. I lost over 1,000 vines in the lower slopes of the land. So I would say under vine now we have probably around an acre with all the blocks together. But we lost quite a bit. And we were into construction on this building, which is a whole nother story. During that
You were doing 2 capital improvements at
Yeah.
once.
Well, we were like, okay, let's set the vineyard expansion into motion, and then we'll turn to construction here, because we had just purchased the building here. And, then COVID, found its way into that equation.
Boy, 2018, yeah. And then you get the Winter Storm Uri in 21. And oh man, talk about a series of unfortunate events there at the beginning.
Yeah. But we're not letting it stop us. We still have plans to expand the vineyard. We do want to get back to that. We're just still recovering with the building and have some other business plans here on the square that we're going to knock out first. So,
all right.
Yeah.
And then when did you open the tasting room here?
2015.
Okay.
Yeah, 2015. It was around late June.
Were you looking for someplace near the central square area, or did you just know about this building? How did come about this building? It's a beautiful old building, by the way.
Thank you. I actually looked at several locations. Originally, we looked in Denison, where Grayson is. We looked at Pilot Point, few areas in Gainesville, Denton. Just kind of looked around, Sanger. But in Valley View at the time, it was like a blank canvas for an artist. There just wasn't much here. Okay. And I guess in the same sense, being a small town, there also wasn't a lot of regulation. And, they were very welcoming and willing to let us almost do whatever. So that's always a huge help. They were
open
with a
to you
small
being
business.
here. Yeah.
Yes. And I met an amazing lady that owned the building at the time that loves wine. Her name's Laura McMullen. She owns a business here in town too. But she loves wine and was super supportive and leased the building to us. I'll never forget the first day when I first saw the building, I thought it was Pier and Beam, and I thought, oh, there's no way I can get a wine tanker barrel. And, the weight and I thought this isn't going to work. Yes. She opened the door for us, and I stepped inside, and it was concrete, and I was like, this will work. So 800 square feet for the first 5 years that we squeezed into. And we actually aged some of our wines. We had a little barrel room that we, kept at a different temperature for guests to see the magic happening, since we weren't at the vineyard. So yeah, it was a really fun start. And then 2018 is when we purchased the building from her and started the construction that we're in now. Okay. So it was late 2019, early 2020 when we were mid-construction. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So.
Well, it's got such a beautiful feel to it. It's got that, and you and I talked just a little bit before the interview, but that kind of old Texas feel, but in a very refined and sophisticated fashion. Just a really beautiful, elegant place to drink some wine, I think.
Thank you. I was born and raised in Texas, and I love Texas, but I kept feeling drawn to this like European vibe and European feel. Right, exactly. Little like bistros kind of feel. And when we started the construction on the building and we saw the old ceiling, we thought, oh, we've got to keep this. This is really beautiful. That's in the main tasting room. And we just kind of built from that, and we stayed with that old world feel, which I think goes really well with wine. And because the Texas theme is around in a lot of places, I thought it'll be kind of neat for people to step in and feel like they're in a different vibe, a little more relaxed, a little more old world. So, yeah.
Especially like in a small town like this, where they kind of feel like, okay, there's something Texas here. I can connect to wine, and connecting that elegant wine structure to this is Texas, and we make great wine here.
Yes, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about the name Firelight Vineyards. Where did the name come from?
So that's a unique story. Another hobby that we had, I would say simultaneously with the winemaking. My husband's he still is technically a licensed pyrotechnician. Yeah, so he had a group of buddies and they would get together, and these guys are phenomenal. They all do this as a hobby, but they're all very talented, and they would put together these amazing, we call them pyro musicals, where you launch with software, it's set to music.
Coordinated and synchronized.
Yes, beautiful stuff. Well, we started shooting those shows on our property before the vineyard was planted. And we, started with, 40 or 50 people, and it ended up being hundreds people. So we did that every year, and we thought, man, this is really neat. So when we launched the business and we came to the city of Valley View, we said, hey, we do fireworks. We'd love to launch our business with the fireworks and do the show for the city, which ended up ultimately bringing thousands of people. But that was kind of the marketing angle. We started with, the Firelight name, and all of our non-varietal specific wines we named Roman Candle, Saturn Missile.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. A lot of M80 is another one that we did.
Gives you that nice theme.
Yeah, it's kind of a theme. And on the back of all of our labels, you'll see a little blurb about the story of putting our passions together of pyrotechnics, and winemaking, just to make a really fun experience for everybody. Yeah.
Do you do any sparkling wines?
We do.
Because you got sparklers in there. My brain's already putting the marketing together.
We do. Yeah, we do. We did a sparkler initially, and now we do a shimmer and a glitter, a semi-sweet and a dry. So yeah, we have a lot of fun with it. Yeah, there's the sky is the limit, literally.
I love it. Pun intended.
Yeah. So that was a really fun way to kick off the business. When I was taking wine marketing at Grayson, they said, what is something about you all, just think for a few minutes, in this room that sets you apart, something just a little bit different. Right. And I thought, well, that's pretty unique. Let's go with that.
Cool.
And it's fun.
I love that. And that makes it very personal to who you are, separate from the pack and personalized to be your own brand and your own thing.
Yeah.
Do you still do those pyrotechnic type shows?
We paused it for a little bit because the growth of the business just kind of took off.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah, and it's definitely, we had a lot of irons in the fire, but we have really fun plans down the road, especially for wine club members, that we can talk about to bring back to our property. Now we have to be very careful with the logistics of fallout from the show and the size of the show, but yeah, it's definitely something in the works.
Nice. You have to let me know. I want to attend that. I will make the drive up here to go to that.
It will be worth the drive, I promise.
That will be really cool. Very distinctive. Sip my wine and watch this really cool fire show. So
yeah.
I love it. Well, we talked a little bit about your vineyard there, and do you still, is it just Black Spanish that you still have planted there? Did you plant anything else?
Yeah, we put in Touriga is a grape I actually didn't know about. I learned as we were planting. We put a little bit of Touriga in to test it out, a little bit of Petit Verdot, Cab, and Merlot. Okay. The two that I lost were whites. We did Malvasia Bianca, Moscato Giallo. We may revisit those, but I'm leaning more toward Tempranillo being my all the way out of the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any Tempranillo planted right now?
No, that's kind of
your
my
goal to add into the mixture.
Yeah, really love
cool.
Great.
Yeah, so you got nice little mix of Italian as well as French varietals there. And then do you, with only an acre there, I presume you source fruit elsewhere as well?
Primarily, we source most of what we make outside of our estate, which is small batch and goes pretty quickly, as you can imagine. But yeah, we buy fruit from Bingham. We love Bingham. We worked with them for many years. My husband's actually from Idaho, so we have family around Washington, Spokane, and Sandpoint areas up in that zone. And so we have some vineyards in that area that we love. And so we bring fruit from that area, which gives us diversity on our menu. Texas is our heart. But it's part of the story, and it gives us a little mix that we like to have. So it's kind of neat, to try the different terroirs too. So
it's a really cool and great comparisons and great. That's beautiful stuff. I think that, who would limit themselves to say, I'm only going to eat one food every day for the rest of my life and that's it? No, there's room for diversity.
Yeah.
So I love that. I think that's really cool.
It is fun. And the side-by-side is really neat. And our guests enjoy that too. Try this Texas Cabernet, and now let's try the Washington. But we definitely put it on the label. It says Washington.
Sure. And that way you can see the differences between the two. So what are just from my own curiosities, I know how difficult it is in the hill country region for people bringing in fruit from the high plains, because, once you pick that fruit, it's already starting to ferment and all that. You got to try to put on ice and try to get that trip down. What is it like trying to get Washington? Do they press it there and bring the juice down?
We are very open to all the different ways in which we can move fruit, depending on the time of year, how much we're buying, all those logistics come into play. So it varies across the board. But yeah, it's challenging. I mean, it's challenging, like you said, just from the high plains, 6 hours in the heat. So yeah, a lot of refrigerated trucks are involved. But yeah, it just kind of depends on what we're buying and when. And yeah, sometimes, I mean, really having them press it is the way to go.
Yeah, that makes it just a little easier. It kind of, you release linkage a little bit of control there, but it makes it easier as a payoff sometimes. Yeah, I took Dr. Russ Kane's Specialist of Texas Wine course, and one of the things he talked about that really struck with me as a chord was that Texas, the wine industry here, is unlike any other region in that it's somewhat bifurcated in that so many grapes are grown in the high plains area, but more of the wineries are located outside of that area. So you've got this interesting thing, whereas in a lot of world regions, the grapes are grown right there where the wineries are.
Yeah.
So it's a very unique feature of Texas wines.
Yeah, it definitely is.
All right. So you got all these grapes you're sourcing, and then production facilities. Do you do all that here on site, or do you do that at the vineyard?
We do that at the vineyard.
Okay.
And, when we were looking at where to open, we really did contemplate on opening the vineyard where we live, where the vineyard is, or sorry, the tasting room. I apologize. But we went back and forth. Our daughters were little at the time, and that's the home they grew up in. And we really thought, let's save that for a later.
Should be some separation.
Yes, and I'm really glad we did. But we do still have really fun events. If we do a harvest or pruning, things like that. The planting, we actually had a lot that in 2018. We had a lot of people come help us plant. That was super fun. But we do all of our production there. So we're fully licensed and bonded there. We can have events, we can sell wine, but we can keep it small and manageable versus
control it.
Right. Versus open all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where our production is. We bottle everything there with the exception of 2 wines. We bottle everything on site ourselves. So yeah.
And then you mentioned that you're the winemaker as well. So one of the questions I always love to ask winemakers are, what are some of your favorite wines to make?
Oh goodness. I would have to say the blends.
Yeah.
I love the blends. And I'm more of a dry wine drinker, but I really enjoy making some of the sweet and semi-sweet wines. We do blind bench tops on all of our wines when we're, getting ready to bottle, and any tweaking to finishing, which is super fun for me. My husband gets, of course, he's involved all the time, but he's involved. We have a couple of friends that are dedicated wine tasters. All right. Some of the best friends you can have.
Good palates, right?
Yeah. So we all, kind of do those final adjustments with sugars, maybe, just different things, different tools in the toolbox, mostly sugar when we're dealing with sweet and semi-sweet wines. And that's always a lot of fun, So there, we label everything on the bottom. We all make our adjustments, and then we swap them out. We all do the tasting. And that, I think, is one of the most fun parts for me. But the blends, we do the same. We're going to put a little Cab, a little bit of Syrah, do we add a little Merlot? And we actually have 2 wines that we make. One is Trailblazer, which is a 50-50 Cab Syrah, and then one is Nightfall, which is Cab Syrah and a slight amount of Merlot, and it's always fun to play with those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say doing those final bench tests and tweaking and deciding what is that sweet spot, and not knowing the exact chemistry or the exact numbers in the moment that you're really tasting for the experience. I love that.
Yeah. And I think vintage variation makes that even more fun, because you may have used this much Cab last year, this much, but this one, the vintage is a little different. So now we got to tweak and see how things, what it needs this year, what, the different varieties are. Or sometimes you have those fun, happy accidents where you make a blend by accident, you go, wow, that's really good.
That's true. That happens a lot.
Yeah. Brand new wine line by accident.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong, single varietals are cool. Yep. But those wines where you're making all those changes and really making it your own is really fun.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Well, what are some of your popular wines with customers? What are some of the wines that you provide, that you sell, and that people can expect when they come in?
People love the Cab. I mean, that's a home run all the time. The 2 blends I mentioned are always great favorites. They sell out very quickly. We actually just released both of those. So we have them right now. You can come visit. I would say, though, that our number 1 seller by volume is our Valley View Violet, which is, we make that based on the name Valley View, and that's typically a blend of all of the fruit. We use a little bit of the black Spanish in that one, but primarily all the fruit in our vineyard, and we make that a sweet wine, which in Texas is very popular. But it's really fun because even though it's sweet, we actually oak age a little bit. You get some good complexity and depth. And with all of those different fruits, there's a lot of complexity there. So it's not just, a super sweet, it really is a fun wine, and we just sell it like crazy.
It's not just drinking grape juice. You really have to get into all of the aromatics and all the flavors and things that come through it.
People are always pleasantly surprised, and we can't keep it on the shelf.
I like that.
So,
Complex sweet wine.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, what types of events or activities do you host here at the tasting room or at your location in the vineyard sometimes?
Yeah, so most of our events are here at the tasting room. We do some really fun tribute bands. I would say our most populars are Forever Mac events. We sell out very quickly. Another really fun event that we do is with actually another winery owner, John Matthews owns Casara Winery. He does true crime and wine, where he does this whole crime experience event here.
Wow.
We sell out of that so fast, and it's so fun. It's very interactive with the guests, and they have dinner, and he's got all the based on real crimes that happened here in Texas. So there's a lot of fun, and people remember them. So he's got all the, I can't remember the name, like the evidence and different things that were used, and sometimes he'll show slides, but that's a really fun event coming up. Yes. And he's a great guy, and he does a great job with it. So that's September 5th. That's coming up. And of course, we have our wine club.
Yeah,
that's
of course,
always
events
fun.
and things for them.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on. We're on social media. We advertise just as much as we can, all the fun things.
And shout out to one of my fellow podcasters, True Crime in Texas Wine, and the things that they do there. It fits right in with their whole thing. So very popular. True crime is a big deal. So my wife gets here that she may be up here for that event. She loves that as well. So cool.
Oh, you made me think of something earlier. I said wine and true crime, but it's true crime and wine. So I think I mixed it up with the podcast. Sorry about that.
No worries.
John's company is True Crime and Wine.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the tasting itself. So let's say that a customer, listener, or watcher is getting excited to come visit Firelight. Either they live in the area, or maybe they're traveling through this area and they want to stop in and check things out. So let's talk about what a tasting might look like if they come in for a tasting. First off, do you have a set flight of wines when they do a tasting, or did the customer pick their wines, or what does that look like?
We let it be completely custom. So we give them the list. We usually have anywhere 12 to 15 plus different wines to select. You can do an entire dry tasting. You can do an entire sweet, semi-sweet tasting. You can do a mix of either. We like to let them choose whatever they want. It includes five wines. So they select 5 1-ounce pours, and we talk about each one throughout the experience. I think it's $20 for a tasting.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
And you have, we talked about reds, we talked a little bit about whites, we mentioned sparkling, rosés.
We do have rosé.
And then, so you got the whole palette.
Oh, yeah. We have
different options.
Yes. That was one of the first things I remember in school. I thought, I don't want a single person to walk in that door and we can't find something they would enjoy. So we really try to make sure that if your palate is in a specific zone, that we have at least 2 or more options for you to try, so that we can figure out exactly what you like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and dessert wine too. That's our estate.
There you go. You got that port style.
Yes.
Love some dessert wine.
Yeah.
Do they need reservations for that?
No, we love reservations. That helps us plan a little bit better, of course, with a small business and a team. We love that, but it's not required. Anybody can just walk on in. Yeah.
What are your operating hours for the tasting room?
We're Thursday to Sunday. Thursdays, we are 4 to 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, we're noon to 10 p.m. So because we're on a town square, we're open later.
Late hours, yeah.
And then Sundays, we're noon to 5 p.m. And we also have a bistro restaurant. So
oh, cool.
Yeah, we of course have really great cheese boards like most wineries, but we have a full bistro menu. So we do flatbread, soup, salad, dessert. So you can have lunch or dinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I assume then because of that, customers shouldn't bring their own food, right?
Yeah, we don't allow, because of permitting.
There's all the regulations.
Yeah,
yes.
all the regulations that nobody likes. But yeah, we don't allow any outside food or beverage.
Good. I like to clarify that. What about family friendly or pet friendly? If somebody wants to bring their kids or rover or whatever they may have with them, do you have any regulations or rules about those?
We are super pet friendly because we have 3 different patios and they're all enclosed.
Okay.
So, and of course we allow some, as long as the pet is friendly, we allow them indoors. There's so many guests that come in, and we have a lot of people that travel via RV and, that sort of thing. And they love to bring in their little pets. So we have a lot of that. We do welcome that. And if there is an issue, we have those 3 outdoor areas we can kind of
direct towards.
Yeah, we can offer that. Same with kids. Not that you have to walk them into a patio.
Put your kids out on the patio.
Yeah, this is the kid area. No, we are very family friendly. Usually Friday and Saturday nights are geared a little more toward date night. So it may not be as comfortable for the family, but we welcome everybody anytime.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And I bet you get a lot of good foot traffic for the square. I imagine things going on here in the square.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things happening. It's always exciting.
Yeah, so many things to do as well as stop in and enjoy some wine or hit the bistro and all of that. What about group sizes? Do you have any maximum group sizes or anything like that?
No, our main dining rooms, we can seat about 45 people in here. Our patio, we can get up to 70 plus. I mean, and then of course we have the tasting room and the outside patios, and we have future building upstairs that'll be coming soon. So there's pretty good amount of space. As long as it's not pouring down rain or too hot or too cold, then we can accommodate most sizes. Yeah.
And I'm sure if somebody's, I mean, it's typical. If somebody's got a big group, they should probably let you know ahead of time so you can accommodate.
Yes, please let us know.
For the best experience. Well, what are your busier and slower seasons? What do you think is the best time for somebody to come visit?
Well, if it kind of depends on if they're wanting to be in an exciting, busy environment or if they want it a little more low key.
Yeah.
The summertime when it gets really hot definitely slows down a little bit. I think for most of us, it's a little bit more, people are traveling and all that kind of stuff. And then of course the cold winter time. Those are the slower times, a little bit more quiet, which is sometimes can be exactly what people would like. And that does give us more one-on-one time, and we can really get into more of the details of the wine, which is what we love to do. So if you are looking for that, give us a call and we can kind of direct you to those quieter times of the day or the night, and we can really spend more time with you. But if you're wanting more exciting and wild,
Bustling.
Bustling, that's a better way to say it. I would say, maybe Friday or Saturday night. Saturday during the days are always very traffic. They're great. Yeah. A lot of high energy. Yeah.
What about wine clubs? So do you have a wine club?
We do.
Then tell me about it.
So it's very easy to sign up. We don't charge anything to join the club. We have quarterly pickups or shipments, just kind of depending. We can ship anywhere in the state of Texas. We don't ship outside the state of Texas, but we have that pickup option. So we have we're right on the Oklahoma border is nearby. So we have a lot of guests that live in Oklahoma, but they love to come down. Technically we have 7 clubs, but our most popular is our Custom Elite 4-bottle club. You can pick anything you want. It can be all 4 sparkling wines if you want every time, or you can mix it up semi-sweet, semi-sweet, dry, whatever you like. We'll send you the list. You make your selection of 4 or more, and those become your club. If you would like, you can also join the 2 or the 3-bottle club, and those each have an option of dry, sweet, or mixed.
Okay. And it's winemaker's choice on that.
Right. So we'll make those selections for you, and they'll be amazing. So you won't be disappointed. Yeah.
And you get different things custom picked by the winemaker each time.
Right. And we do a newsletter. We put that in with the wine club. Sometimes we have some really fun little freebies. We do a really neat little bag. Right now we have a promotion where if you bring in your reusable bag, you get to pick what we call wine flair. And it's the little buttons that are kind of tongue-in-cheek, fun little. So people are now collecting the buttons on their reusable wine bags. So, we just have fun with it.
Yeah. Keep it going.
Keep it going. And it gives us a chance to be silly, and people are really enjoying that. Yeah.
And you mentioned some of the events and things that you do for wine club members?
We do. Each quarter we have an event. We're going to offer you a complimentary tasting of whatever we've just released, what might be in your club.
Sneak preview.
We always pair that with some sort of bite to complement the wine. And what we really love to do is feature another small business. So we have a local fudge company. There's a local cheese company. There's we've done Johnny's Cakes, which is another really fun. We do that one around Thanksgiving, which is perfect because they get lots of cake orders. So we use those as an opportunity to really enhance the wine experience, but also feature that small business that makes that connection with our guests, and people love it. We
partner with the local community here too.
Yes, and it brings the small business in that they may not have even known about. So that's been really fun for us.
Yeah, and I bet great for those partners as well.
Yes, absolutely. And then of course we have the live music. Everybody has a great time. Typically, George and I are both available, but definitely I'll be there when we talk about those featured wines and how we made them and the story behind them and the name and all that fun stuff. So it's a very interactive experience. We really enjoy it.
What about Let's say a customer is interested in tasting your wines, but for whatever reason, they can't get here, whether it's distance or something like that. Do you do any kind of distribution, or do you sell on your website or things like that?
Oh, yes, definitely. All of our wines are available on our website. Yep. And we'll get them to you as fast as we can. We are in a few small local businesses, but we're not really in
Wide distribution, right?
Yeah, yeah. We're definitely more small batch, just working to keep it on the shelves.
Exactly. A boutique winery
Yeah,
style.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So do you have any plans for future growth? I know you talked a little bit already about planting more varietals in the vineyard, things like that. You talked about maybe the upstairs here, things like. What are some of your ideas for growth down the line?
Yeah, we're actually very excited about our growth. We just celebrated 10 years. I forgot to mention that earlier. That was a huge milestone for us. I know. Yes, we're very proud of that. It's been really awesome. Awesome ride. But during that process, we started new plans to expand our menu into a boutique steakhouse.
Wow.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. So yeah. And for many years, people come in, they drink wine, and they're like, "Where's the steak?" I mean, they go together. For a while, we were like, "Oh no, that's just such a major endeavor." But then Hess Meat Market moved into town, so we now have a local butcher, and we thought, "My goodness, that's a sign. Local beef, local wine. That's going to be kind of our marketing. It's just the true experience of what we're going to offer." Goes perfectly together. And we do a little bit of farm to table already with herbs and things, and we love that. I mean, food and wine are just the best of both, best of both worlds. So we are in the works of expanding our kitchen into being the boutique steakhouse, and we'll start with a few cuts that are really great, and then we'll just kind of go from there. We are really excited about hearing feedback from our guests on what they like and what they might want to see, and yeah.
Cool.
The upstairs that I mentioned earlier, so the plan there is to open kind of a speakeasy environment. So our original tasting room will always stay true to the original tasting room. It will always be a tasting room for wine. And so if you come in and you just want to do a wine tasting and have the wine experience, you will get to have that experience all the way. From what we originally started to now, it'll just be
Keep the
truly
familiarity.
authentic. Yes. But we're excited about opening up the speakeasy. So if you'd like to go upstairs, it'll be a little bit more loungy, even more of a stepping back in time feeling, very 1940s vibe, a lot of very vintage furniture and things like that. And then this room that you and I are in will be definitely more geared toward dining. So we have some really cool spaces that you'll get to have a very unique experience in each space.
Nice. You can kind of, wherever is fitting your mood for that particular visit, you can kind of lounge
Or you can
there.
do all of them.
Yeah. Now we're going to go to the other room.
Yeah. So we're really excited about, really taking the opportunity of being on a town square in a really unique venue.
Yeah.
Let's just take it to the level that we can in every way. Yeah.
And that'll give you, I would think too, such great options for different types of parties and events
Yes.
and themed ideas and stuff like that. And you have so many different variety of places to do those in. So
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. There are actually 6 wedding venues just within a few miles. I think there's 10 within 16 miles. So there are wedding venues like crazy up here. And so we already host lots of rehearsal dinners. If you're looking for a place for rehearsal dinner, we would love to host you. But yeah, we'll start doing a lot more of that so you can have that experience as well. If you're looking for a place to throw an anniversary party, graduation party, birthday party, or a dinner, we can be that place for you.
that's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of great places in Texas that people can go to drink amazing wine. What, in your opinion, do you think really sets Firelight Vineyards apart that people would say, I really need to get there as soon as I can?
Yeah. So I think it would start with our customer service. The connection that we make with our guests is just the absolute best gift that we've been given since the day we opened this business, is connecting with people and building that forever relationship with them. Exactly, a family. And we love that. We love being that place that when you're passing through, or, we get a lot of people going up to WinStar, they make it a point to stop and say hi. And we really love that personal connection in conjunction with amazing wine and amazing food. So I think one really unique gem that we have is that you can have a really great meal. We do a Thirsty Thursday event twice a month, and we always do a chef special. We had that event last night, and we featured local braised brisket from Hess Meat Market that was amazing. And we Yeah, we made it into what we called the brisket mango tango, and it was brisket tacos with fresh mango. Oh, it was a hit.
Mouth is watering.
So yeah, everyone loved it. We had a packed house. It was an amazing dish. So if you're really wanting to have that wine and food experience, especially with the farm to table and the customer service, I think you'll just have a blast here.
So it sounds like this is a really kind of family-oriented project that you have going on here. Your husband then doing the work there, and then you doing things here. I really love that family feel you have here.
Yes, my husband and I both, of course, do a lot of work with the winemaking and grape growing, but also both of our daughters, who I mentioned earlier, were very tiny when we got into this venture of winemaking, and now they're both much older. My oldest is now 22, and my youngest is 19, and they both help tremendous.
They're pitching in.
Yes, they are starting to really love the world of wine. My oldest, Macy, if you come into the tasting room, chances are good that you'll interact with Macy. She has her WSET or WSET level 1.
Okay, good.
And she did the Texas, what is the name of that?
The Advanced Texas Wine Specialist.
She did that
Yeah.
as well. She just did that. She's very excited about that.
Denise Clark is teaching that now. Yes.
Yeah. So she took that course and did fantastic. So she is well on her way of getting some of those certifications under her belt. She's
Good for her.
really fallen in love with the industry. And my youngest, Katie, who also works here, has actually helped us craft several of our dishes for our bistro menu that are really delicious. She's a full-time OU student on a music education degree, so she's got a lot of irons in the fire. She's probably going to go a different direction, but she loves to pop in and get creative and
Put her
make
spin
dishes.
on things.
Yeah. She's not quite at the wine drinking age, so she has a lot of fun with all the other parts of the business. But it's really been such an amazing family experience. My parents live right next door to us and own acreage there. We've talked about putting vines on their property. We may or may not go down that road, but my dad helps in the vineyard all the time, and they're very involved with everything we do here. So if you step in the door, you're going to run into a family member for sure.
Yeah. So you've got your actual family of origin all contributing, and then your extended family of your wine club and all of that. I love that. Great feel.
Yeah.
So, as Meredith said, customer service and a real family type experience there. You're going to find all of that in spades there at Firelight Vineyards. Plus, you get to taste some really great wines in this elegant, beautiful tasting room. And as always, make sure you check out their website before you go. It's www.firelightvineyards.com. And on that website, you're going to find that extensive wine selection menu with the ability to go in and order and purchase them right there on the website to have them shipped directly to you if you want. You're also going to find great information there about their wine club, a place to buy tickets to some of the events that they host. You'll find even more background information about the winery and a section about what to expect when you go to visit them. Definitely worth checking out before you go. And if you go scroll down towards the bottom, you're going to find a place where you can subscribe to their quarterly newsletter that they put out, so you get all the information about their events and the things that they have going on. And don't forget, when you go to see them, make sure you tell them you heard about them on this podcast, Texas Under Vine. As always, once we wrapped up the interview and I put everything away, I was delighted to have Meredith escort me into the main part of the tasting room, up to the bar, to be able to taste some of these amazing wines that we got to talk about in the previous interview. And as we were there at the bar, Meredith's daughter was actually there, that she discussed in the interview, to pour some of those great wines for me, while Meredith sat there and was able to give me a lot more information and background info on a lot of these different wines that I was tasting. It truly was a family experience, and I felt like I belonged to the family. Now, from the whites to the reds, from the dry to the sweet and the sparkling, I loved everything I got to taste that I was there. But as you know, there always comes that time when I have to pick one. So for those that may be new to the podcast, I always choose one bottle, one particular wine that really stood out to me during my tasting that I like to purchase and bring home with me for a wine library that I have for each episode of this particular podcast. So that always becomes the big challenge towards the end of deciding which is the one I'm going to pick, especially when I taste so many great wines. And in this case, I quickly chose their 2023 Dolcetto. So this is an Italian varietal, and this is from the Texas High Plains. Very, very great wine. I loved a lot of the real dark berries on the nose, and some blackberries, and even some plum, dark plum, and things like that that I was smelling. And then when I actually was able to sip on it and taste it, the palate tasted just like the nose. I got to taste all those incredible flavors. It had a great medium body with a good mouthfeel in this wine. I really fell in love with this. I think it was a great expression of an Italian grape grown in Texas terroir. So I had to purchase this one, the 2023 Dolcetto, and bring that one home with me for this episode. And you should try it as well when you go to visit them. All right. So once my head began to clear from all the fireworks that were going off while I was tasting these elegant and brilliant wines and really enjoying myself there, I knew the time was drawing near that I had to leave and move on to other great Texas wine destinations to bring you information about some other places you can visit as well. Now, before I go for this episode, I do have one special request of you, and it's something I'm going to ask of you that's free. I would love if you're enjoying this information, if you watch the podcast on YouTube or if you listen to it and you're enjoying the content that I'm bringing you, if you would possibly go out and give me a rating and review for the episode. Again, it's completely free to you and it benefits me greatly if you can do that. I love to see the reviews that people bring in to tell me what they think of the show, ways that I could even improve or things that they really like that I'm doing here on the episodes, but also a rating. Now, I'm not a podcast that's going to tell you what rating to give me. You give me what you think the podcast deserves, but having those ratings and those reviews really not only benefits me, but it benefits the podcast and gets it in front of more Texas wine drinkers so that we can see this industry grow even greater. And if you're watching this episode on my YouTube channel, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. And make sure to go down below where the comment section is and leave me a comment about the video. So if you've been to Firelight Vineyards, tell me what's your favorite thing about it. Or if you haven't been, but now you're excited to go from listening to this episode, just leave me a comment down below and tell me what you're most excited to see there when you go to visit Firelight. Or maybe what you're excited to taste when you go. And with that, my time is up. So don't forget, subscribe to the podcast and follow my socials to be notified anytime a new episode is released. And until then, happy trails and bottoms up, y'all.
Thanks for listening to Texas Under Vine. We strive to provide you with the best information about wine businesses all over Texas. Be sure to check out our website at texasundervine.com and follow us on our socials at Texas Under Vine to stay up on all the upcoming episodes. Please email us with any suggestions or feedback. Also, contact us if you're interested in donating, sponsoring, or advertising on the podcast, just to help us cover our expenses and bring even more great info to you in future episodes. Above all, travel safely, and most especially, drink responsibly.
Howdy, Vine Trippers. Before we go, I wanted to direct you to my website, www.texasundervine, because there you're going to find a whole host of things. Besides access to the audio versions and the video versions of the podcast, you can also get those on any podcast provider and then the video on YouTube. But there you're going to find a couple of things. Did you know that I actually sold some Texas Under Vine merchandise? I only have a handful of items available, about 5 different things, but they are up on my store. So if you go to the website, texasundervine.com, and go to the top, you're going to see a link for the merchandise store. And there you can get your own Texas Under Vine swag to proudly show all of your friends that you support the Texas wine industry, and you can get them started on and hooked on the podcast as well, so they can go visit even more of these great wine destinations. But in addition to the store, I also have a Patreon for my subscribers, people that support this show. I do this all out of a work of love from my heart. I do not make any money on this podcast. I'm actually in the red because I support it all out of my own pocket as a teacher. And it's mainly because I love wine and I love the Texas wine industry. So if you're willing to help me do that and you'd like to see more of these great episodes, hear more from these amazing winemakers, learn more about some fun destinations for you to go and visit on your own, I would appreciate if you would be willing to subscribe to my Patreon. So at the top of my website page, again, you'll find a Become a Patron link. And there you can get all the information about becoming a subscriber to the podcast here as a Patreon subscriber. It only costs a few dollars a month if you're willing to commit that. And there are various levels that you can commit to that each give you behind the scenes benefits that you don't get. And I do have some new things in the pipeline coming down soon. So So you want to get on that sooner than later. But right now you can get things like behind the scenes photos at different wineries. You can get things like at one level, you'll get a video walkthrough of the winery. So for every episode, I will post a video walkthrough of me taking you through the winery itself so you can see what it's like before you go. And then at one level, you can even find out before everyone else where I'm headed the next week on the show as it comes out. So you'll know before everyone else. You get a sneak peek. So there's just different levels of benefits, and they all cost a different amount. And as you subscribe, you become the heart of this podcast. You really are what helps me succeed. You are my community and my people. And thank you so much for those that do subscribe. So if you're interested in joining Patreon, check the Become a Patron link at the top of the website. So again, the website is www.texasundervine.com. You can also go to all of my socials. I'm at Texas Undervine on almost all the social accounts. And check it out and consider sponsoring the podcast and maybe even buying some of that really cool swag on the merchandise store. Happy trails and bottoms up, fine trippers.